So I just dropped my car off at Midas for an 8 o'clock appointment, and look at this. Look at this cop. So they leave their gun unholstered. They point it towards you. If they think you're suicidal, have a mental health problem, which is a lie. Nobody has mental health problems in this country. It's well, most people don't because they're smart. We're intelligent. So these cops just walked in as soon 2 seconds after I walked through this door. These police officers walked into the coffee shop, and then they tempt you. So if they think you're mentally unsound or mentally inept, they'll point their guns at you and dare you to try to grab them. That's what they're doing. They move the hips. So lots of police officers will move their hips towards you to tempt you to grab their guns. And then they act benign. They act as benign and innocent as possible to escape the belief or the potential that they're acting to sway a jury. To sway a jury, they act like they're completely innocent, but they were doing something entirely inappropriate the entire time, like stalking. So they're going to say it's just a coincidence we showed up here today at the same time he did. But it's also uncoincidental. Well, there's not a coincidence to always go somewhere and police officers follow you or show up shortly after you arrive there. That's not a coincidence. So like I said, pointing. Look at this dude's holster. So he left it unbuckled. His gun holster is unbuckled, and which is unprofessional. It's supposed to be buckled. His holster is supposed to be buckled unless he's about to use it somewhere. So he left it unbuckled, hoping I'd be tempted to. Hey, excuse me, officers.
No, I'm good.
Officer. Hi, excuse me, officer. Hi, I had a question. What's your name?
Are you recording me right now?
Are you a police? Are you on duty?
Yeah.
Can I ask you what your name is? I can't. The chair was moving. I couldn't hear anything you said. I'm sorry. I still couldn't hear you, sir.
Investigator.
Investigator Holmes.
Yeah. What's your question?
I just wanted to know your name.
For what reason?
Because you're a police officer. I just wanted to know who you were.
Investigator Holmes. Yep.
Homo.
Holmes.
Holum.
Yep.
And your badge number?
Have a good day.
You're not gonna tell me your badge number? 232.
Yeah.
Hey, sir, officer, could you please? Can you please tell me your name?
I'm an investigator as well.
What's your last name?
Hordon.
Yep. Why are you?
Hordon.
Hordon. What's your badge number?
3816.
3816.
Yep, have a good day, sir.
Why are you being dismissive? I'm just a citizen in the community.
We're just going about our day.
I told you my name.
Yeah, you guys don't talk to people in the community.
I answered your
Yeah, we
question.
do. We're talking to you.
And I asked you your first name. That's how you start conversations.
I gave you my name.
You didn't want to. You were being dismissive.
I said it the whole time.
No, you didn't. I just recorded you 3 times. I asked 3 times for your name.
Investigator Holmes.
All right, why are you being dismissive? Yes, you are, man.
You have a police need?
A who?
Watch out behind you.
A police need?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying hi.
Oh, okay.
Why is that not okay? They're gay. Those cops came in there to try to cause an altercation. Yes, they did. They were hoping that I would do something because I keep seeing police officers wherever I go. They were hoping that I would get mad and do something violent because I can't stop police officers from showing up to the places that I go to so often. And they were praying that I would do something violent. And those cops are probably killers. And this is the same police car that I keep seeing. This one right here, it's the same one. It's the same one that I keep seeing everywhere I go. E4686. That's them. They think it's funny. They think it's funny to harass people, stalk them, harass them, and it's really about the technology in my body. That these cops are hoping that I get angry or violent about the things that I see in the community. But it's not. I'm going to keep telling. I'm not going to get violent. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm going to keep telling that people put technology in people across the country to get gay people, to get them to have sex with other gay people. There's another police officer. They're angry that I'm telling. These people help the gay community. They're not here for any other reason than to harass me into violence. Stalk, harass, and use technology to figure out where he's going to be, where he's going, what he's going to do, so that so he gets annoyed. He feels violated. His freedom is taken. Well, not taken, but it feels less. He feels like he has less freedom because everywhere he goes, somebody knows where he is, and they can irritate him because he can't go somewhere without somebody knowing that he's there. So it's like you have less freedom. To escape. So a lot of people like escapism, and everybody has it. Immediately when you leave somewhere, you have escapism. And so if somebody knows where you are at all times, they can prevent you from escaping or leaving the irritation for a moment. So like a day's rest or 2 days rest or 3 days rest or a week's rest, a month's rest, a year's rest from the last time you had a bad experience is gone. So you keep having a bad experience every single day because these police officers, the people in the community want to irritate you because you continue to refuse to have sex with them and you continue to make them look dumb. They lied about who you were. They lied and told everybody for decades you were a homosexual. And now, decades later, 30 years later, you still are not gay. And they look like liars. And these people are narcissists. So they believe if they decided history 30 years ago, and they decided that you would grow up to have sex with gay people 30 years ago to help Todd Hall become president of the United States of America. They said you were going to represent the gay community as Todd Hall ran for the White House 30 years ago. And you were going to help him get voted in by standing for the gay community. And 30 years later, you still aren't gay. So now they have to hit you with a mental health disorder. They have to lie, create a false history, and say that you had a mental health disorder, and lie and say you have a mental health disorder by causing interactions, negative interaction, passive, poor interactions. And somebody in my ear just said, you the one who had a bad interaction with the police officers. But honestly, I was talking quietly enough that the police officers couldn't hear me. 2, they came there to stalk me and harass me. So you're bypassing the stalking and harassment prior to me speaking on the YouTube video, prior to me asking the police officers, hey, what is your name? And they're trying to escape responsibility. As long as they could get in and get out, harass me without leaving a name, they accomplished something. But I asked them for their names. So now there's a record of who they are and what they did. And that's not part of the gig. The gig is to harass somebody and then run away. Move it, get out of it as fast as possible without leaving a name or any way to trace them, could connect you back to whatever the hell he said. So these police officers are stalking and harassing me, hoping that I get violent and angry from the experiences. But instead, I continue to tell, which is not like what everybody else is doing across the country. When these things happen, most people get violent, get aggressive, and do something to stop the stalking and harassment. Plus, there's technology in your body that somebody is using to torture you while you sleep, while you wake up, while you walk down the sidewalk, while you're talking to other people. And they hoped, I know they hope that when they walked in here today, when they walked into Mocha, I would get mad about seeing police officers again so soon after I just told them to leave me alone last night. They were hoping I would get mad, so they stalked me. They used technology to figure out where I was going to go and when I was going to be there. So the whole time I was driving to Midas, I was talking out loud using technology in my body to speak to several different people that I was gonna probably stop here and get coffee like I did last time I dropped my car off at Midas on my way back home. So I live that way. Midas is right next to Mocha. You stop at Mocha, get a coffee, and then continue on your way home. And somebody knew that, hey, well, let's do a little harassment. Let's stop in and see if he gets violent, because he can't prove, there's no proof or evidence that we're stalking him. There's no way to prove the harassment. Let's just stop in there and see, do it again. Let's stalk him, harass him, do it again, and see what he does. See what he does. I'll leave my gun holster unbuckled just to make it sweeter, just to make him want to do it even more. I'll just leave my gun holster unbuckled, which is like an indication that it's easy to get to. It's unbuckled. It's not a plastic holster. It's a fabric holster, and you can just slide that gun out and grab for it, and I'll be able to shoot you. So these two extra professional police officers, the investigator level police officers, would think we can escape gravity because we have more. Look at this. There's another cop right there. We have more professionalism. We have a higher level of professionalism. So if he does anything, says anything to us, we look more professional in the media because our names, we have titles. We have investigator level titles. There's another cop right there hiding behind you see that? Hiding behind the that truck. They do that too. So a lot of police officers like to drive past me and like stay in view of the car behind them or hide. And then for a split second you see them, but by the time you do, they're too far away to say go fuck yourself to them. They're gone. But they just harassed you. They arrived to the intersection out of your view at the same time that you did. Well, all the cars stopped. Every car in that area stopped at the same time, and the cop was one of the cars in that area that stopped, or had to have stopped at the same time, but you couldn't see him. And when you do see him, he's miles away, and you can't tell. But like I was saying, the police officers showed up here with the investigator titles, and they wanted to harass me. They wanted to continue to harass me to see if I would get violent from the interaction, because they need me to die or to commit suicide or be violent to escape the gravity of the technology being in my body. That's what they want to do. They wanted to escape the gravity of placing technology in someone's body, torturing and raping them, and looking like liars because they said he is gay and that's why we turned the technology on. Or he's a rapist and that's why we turned the technology on. But it's evident that he's not a rapist and he's not gay. So now we have no reason to have turned this technology on in his body. So we have to harass him to make us look like we were telling the truth. That's the only way to get a good person to turn into a bad person. You have to constantly harass them or do bad things to them. And that's how they become bad people. Or they look like bad people because sometimes when we don't know the law by the letter, we can say or do something that gets us in trouble. We can say or do something that gets us in trouble. And that's what these police officers are hoping for, that I'll say or do something that gets me in trouble. Instead, and they try to escape, annoy, treat me like I'm not really a citizen, or I don't have the pleasures of speaking to police, or I shouldn't have the pleasure of speaking to a police officer like the average citizen. The average citizen will go up to a police officer and say, "Hi, how you doing? How's your day going?" But these cops are acting in the opposite. Someone just told me it's because of your interactions with them. But also last night, a police officer told me they have no idea who I am. And for 4 years, every police officer I've spoken to has repeated, they have no idea who I am. So I doubt these police officers would have a good cause if what every other police officer has said is true, would have a good cause to not speak to me like a regular citizen. Nah, man, I'm pretty smart. I speak well enough. And there's a good expectation that a black guy in a coffee shop or a guy dressed like me with a nice coat, some jogging pants on at 8 o'clock in the morning doesn't have bad intentions or isn't the disrespectful type, isn't the rude type, of black guys you see on YouTube or you know of in your neighborhood, there's a good chance that who I am would be a decent person, and they would say, "Hey, how you doing?" But instead, they treated with distance. They distanced themselves. They made sure there was a huge amount of area between the police officers and myself. They kept the distance, psychological distance. So no socialism. Do not socialize with him. Don't make him feel welcomed by you. You guys aren't friends. And lots of police officers do that around certain people. And then 2 seconds later, around another person, they'll act like the distance is short, that they're best friends and they socialize with each other regularly. And they're strangers. So it's hurt feelings. He's trying to hurt your feelings, making you feel like you're distant, you're not a part of the society you live in, you're not a part of the community because you're supposed to be in prison, you're supposed to be dead, or you're supposed to be gay, or you're supposed to commit suicide. And that's why these police officers are acting so distant. They think you're dead, gay, or suicidal, or you're supposed to be a violent person because of all the sexual harassment and the technology torture that's been happening inside your body. That's been happening for years. You aren't supposed to still be here. So they're acting like I'm in a graveyard. And there's no need to socialize. There's no need to be friends. Oh, and someday you're gonna have to shoot him. So don't be friends. That's what somebody in my left ear just said. Someday you will have to shoot this person, or we need you to be hostile as you can hide from view. As hostile as you can hide from view, we need that. So that's what the police officers were just doing. In a short, in 3 or 4 seconds of our interaction, those are all of the things that occurred. So some people in my ear just said, that's not possible. You can't have that much of an interaction within 3 or 4 seconds. Well, those people aren't educated. You can compress lots of things in a short period of time. Lots of thoughts, lots of consciousness, lots of psychologies in a short period of time, and you can build them up. So you take years to build an experience that takes place in a couple of seconds. And this is psychology. It's the brain works very fast. So you can recall memories or short-term memories very quickly. So if police officers are harassing you all the time, it becomes a short-term memory. It doesn't have to be in your long-term memory bank because it keeps happening every day. Now, and so in a short-term memory, you recall things very quickly. And if you recall poor experiences or the same sort of harassment in over a short-term period, you can have all of those experiences all over again within 2 to 3 seconds. And so you realize what's happening very quickly. And it's harder to explain years of history in 2 or 3 seconds because you can't talk as fast as you can think. And that's what just happened inside the Smoker coffee shop. And these police officers were stalking and harassing me, hoping that I would become violent because I can't stop the stalking from happening. And that's what normally people do. They get mad about the stalking and the harassment. But I'm going to post this, and I'll see you guys later. Keep telling. No. And they're mad I found energy. The most valuable thing in the world that a human being could do is find energy. So someone in my left ear just recalled that in my distant memory, I discovered energy. A way to control it and a way to use it, unlike any way that's been posted on the internet. Unlike any way that you can discover on the internet about fusion, I did it. I discovered the basics of fusion, energy, and gravity while I was in my apartment. And they hate it. They hate that I weightlifted the right way to discover energy and how to control it. It's a monumental thing to historians, to the people who built technology, to the gay community. They despise the use of energy because it gives people freedom. You supply the country with more freedom, you supply more energy, you'll give people more freedom. So poor black people, poor white people, minorities, all the sadness, all the gravity in this country will disappear. All the hardships, the economy, the occupation, the food shortage, the housing shortage, all these things will disappear if you can supply the country with more energy. And because I found it, it pisses the people who hate energy off more than anything in the world. I found energy. I found it. It's inside our bodies. It's inside our bodies, and if you learn how to, and if you, and it, you can find the it's inside our bodies. We are built to control energy, and that's evidence to the people who are building the fusion laboratories to give them empower, to make them feel good about what they're doing. Somebody in America found energy, and it gives them it makes them feel good about building a fusion laboratory, and the people who know well enough what I just said hate it, especially if they're gay. That some black dude who has no value, who's supposed to be worse off than most anybody else, found something of so much value to the smartest people in the country, to the historians in the country, to the historians, the smart people, the people who care about humans. It pisses them off. So they're working hard to make it hard for me to be a part of this society without having sex with them, because they want me, that smart person, to be gay. If I'm that smart, if I'm that valuable, I have to be a part of the gay community, because they tell people who join the gay community that we have the smartest people, we have the most valuable people, and if they're attractive, if they're a sex symbol, they're in the gay community as well. So this guy's smart, he's valuable because of what he found, and how far he took it. That makes him valuable. So he must be in the gay community, and that pissing it off. It pisses them off that I'm not. So they're hoping to irritate somebody until they have sex, well, until they commit suicide, become violent, or do something inappropriate in response to things they can't control, which is normally what people do. You can keep telling, but we're not going to change reality. It's not going to change reality, but it's hard to change reality if you don't have enough energy. Gravity is the reality that we live in. Well, energy and gravity. Reality is made out of gravity, but in gravity there's energy. So if we want to change reality, you have to produce enough energy. You have to have enough energy to have an effect on reality, or to manipulate gravity. So that's the society we live in. Our society is full of gravity. It's full of energy, but energy has gravity. So with all this energy, there's lots of gravity, because energy comes with gravity. Gravity follows energy. So in order to change reality, change the free will of all these people, which comes with gravity, because each person has an effect on reality, you have to produce even more energy. You have to get this energy to follow. Well, you have to compress all this energy together so you have a stronger force to affect reality. And the best way to do it is to keep telling. Well, if you can't do that, all you can do is tell. So that's all I'm choosing to do. I'm choosing to continue to tell, to use the energy I have. The only energy I have, the only value I have, is to tell. And I think that's our First Amendment right. We're supposed to keep telling. That's our First Amendment right for a reason. It is our greatest value, and probably our most powerful value. The ability to tell is our constitutional right, because it helps society. No, it makes sure people are always aware of the things occurring in our country. So that's why it's so prevalent to have a First Amendment right, because we need it. We need it to continue to tell. Wait, we need it because it's like a flare. Sending off a flare. If something bad is happening, we have to have an ability to tell, to speak our opinions, so that people have a good idea of what's occurring or what's happening to us in our country. and it's your greatest freedom to be able to report things, to tell things, and say things that so that you never feel nothing escapes gravity. Nothing can escape reality, or nothing happens without can happen. No history can be untold. Nothing bad happens, and so if something bad is happening, your First Amendment right makes sure that you have an ability to tell. And I think that was the most important freedom to have. Your freedom of speech was the most important. I'm so sorry. Your ability to tell was the most important First Amendment, important right you could have. And I think they labeled that first because it's to protect the country from bad people. So when bad people are doing things, the only way to keep them from being caught, the only way to keep them from escaping, help them escape gravity, is to stop people from telling. So as long as you have that First Amendment right, bad people or nobody will ever escape gravity. And they'll always be held accountable for their actions.